Now let's go to today's post in a my asshole. Age for adopting a dog with the same name as my daughter. My wife and I have 2 kids, Christopher, 9, and Sadie, 12. For Chris' birthday last Friday, my wife and I decided to get him a dog, which he has been asking for since he could talk, and we feel he's finally responsible enough to walk feed a dog himself. My wife and I decided to adopt an older dog, not a puppy, and a medium-sized dog, and preferably a girl dog because I've heard they have better temperaments. Other than that, it was up to me to pick one at the Humane Society, and when I got there, I immediately fell in love with a sweet 30-pound pit mix with beautiful green eyes. When I saw her name was Sadie like our daughter, I thought it was a sign that she belonged with our family. My wife thought the coincidence was funny when I told her, too, which is important, so I arranged the adoption and the shelter agreed we'd pick her up last Friday after a birthday dinner for Chris. I pretended we were stopping at another place in the plaza and went inside and came out with dog Sadie. Both kids were thrilled, but Chris was the happiest I'd ever seen him, and everything was perfect until I told them her name. My daughter Sadie instantly said it was super embarrassing to have the same name as the dog and immediately insisted that Chris change Sadie's name. She kept trying to make him promise, but she was already spoiling the birthday gift before we even left the parking lot, so I told her we'd talk about it later. Well, this week has been hellish. Chris is insistent we keep Sadie's name because she's 4 years old and has had that name her whole life. He says you wouldn't rename a 4-year-old person, and I think he has a point. I also think it's cute and funny that they have the same name. My daughter for some reason is mortified by this and won't even interact with me, her brother, or the dog. My wife, who thought it was cute at first, now says she sees Sadie's point and thinks we need to change the dog's name. I put my foot down because this is Chris' birthday present and his choice. Age for not wanting to change the dog's name.
Naptown 54321 says this article mentions that it's easy for a dog to learn a new name. https://www.petfinder.com/dogs/bringing-a-dog-home/changing-dog-name/ Your daughter has made it clear that she is upset by the naming situation. Please respect her feelings. The dog may be confused for days, but your daughter could stay upset and possibly end up not bonding with the dog. A Nyan Cat says Ita, teaching your son that he can have a dog he loves and a happy sister by simply changing the dog's name would be the proper thing to do here. You could also give your son a reality check. You can call that pup Soupy for a week and she'll pretty quickly think that's her name. Dogs aren't attached to names, people are. Again, Ita. Saltizly79 says Ita, change the dog's name. It's not that hard and isn't going to hurt the dog's feelings. It's a dog. My dog will come when I call the cat. Here Kitty. Kitty gets both the attention from the cat and dog.
Maria Butterfly says Ita, you should have realized that this could happen. I mean, when the dog has an accident or needs a bath, you don't think hearing, Sadie really needs a bath, or, Sadie had an accident, might be embarrassing for your daughter. Maybe come up with a nickname for the dog. A gift for one kid shouldn't hurt the other.
Age 20,190,222 says Ita, it seems like you don't want to upset Christopher by changing the dog's name, but he'll get over that quicker than Sadie having the same name as the dog. Just give the dog a new name that starts with an S or something so the dog will recognize it or use a nickname.
Ronta Grass Dawkins says YTA. You should have anticipated this as a parent, to be honest. A better solution would have been to come up with a different name for the dog before introducing it to your children.
Now let's go to today's post in gaming. Arrow in the knee equals getting married.
Mala496 says also the cool helmets.
Just pretty much don't says seriously, you can't go 3 feet out of town without tripping over a group of bandits literally howling for my blood. I've got kids, man.
Ministech97 says until I was offered more HP than a master dragon to guard Riverwood's chicken.
Watch Jane Code says kills guard and steals all his gear and gold. Have fun with your secure job, corpse.
Dr. Steph says when I married my lizard wife, I didn't expect anyone to show up for the wedding, but just because I helped that one cat, the chapel was full of gadget. How does that even work? LOL, they're not allowed into the town. Mech Ape says there would be a ton of families in Skyrim if this was true.
Now let's go to today's post in interesting as fuck. Bees under attack from hornets recover a fallen soul deer.
Ray KHN says this is no place to die.
ORI says fuck nature man, imagine like several 30 feet not quite human armored humanoids raiding cities and stealing people for food, and the only way to kill them is getting enough people to hug one. Joey_218 says what compels the bees to retrieve their fallen comrade? Perhaps the hive sees the cadaver as food? I hope there's a bee expert in this thread.
Telemarerapa says hornets are such assholes. They are basically the uber wealthy with all the toys. They pick on the poor, use them as slave labor, have stingers that they can reuse over and build their nests wherever they damn want.
Auxiliary Vexes says oh that was so sad. Thunderthigh Lassana says damn we gotta kill every single hornet now.
Now let's go to today's post in unpopular opinion. Dr. Pepper is superior to Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Dr. Pepper has just an amazing taste that it's almost hard to explain. It's got the perfect flavor, the fizziness and with a kick of spice and cherry, and while Pepsi and Coca-Cola have made those flavor, the taste of the other two are so bland and are sorta the same. Dr. Pepper is so unique in more ways than one. 23 flavors in one drink, what better could you want in a drink?
Unpopular opinion. Mud says is this a popular or unpopular opinion? Please reply to this comment with either popular or unpopular. Please do not vote on your own submissions. Current votes: popular unpopular: 773 859.
Carthus says as a Texan, this is a popular opinion.
Trebuk by 8 says found the Steins. Gate fan, THENEWYORKER 2002 says true, but I think we can all agree that water is the superior drink. Dr. Sheffield Medic says Texas agrees.
Inadaste says I like Dr. Pepper but it reminds me of medicine, especially when it's not super cold.
Now let's go to today's post in pics. Wildlife in Zimbabwe.
WI Water says the original https://www.google.com/imgres question img URL equals https://static1.squarespace.com/static/592dc6A57902DDD8D725E25 3A6382C5F51496178068540 FOTOLIA_64472028_ subscription $m.jpeg%3FFORM80%3D2500W and in brief URL equals https://www.teamworkcityofhope.com/ and H equals 1122 and W equals 1694 and NID equals MUX3_YZRTNFWRM and TBNH equals 183 and TBNW equals 276 and USC equals K_MP68-NK3NTSW39J0KLVAACVLSGK equals and HL equals on and DUCIT equals YR3HL5 GLUCMM.
Dumb Jellyfish says anyone seeking more info might also check here. Title points age are comments. A sunset in Africa 26,057 5 Mospics 295 Wildlife in Zimbabwe 673 Mospics 10 Circle of Life Zimbabwe 29 3 Mospics 3 The Wildlife of Zimbabwe 25 3 Mospics 1 Zimbabwe 18,371 3 Mospics 170 Zimbabwe 12,486 3 Mosby Mazed 83 Zimbabwe 8,212 6 Mospics 86 Source, Comadake.
Can't play that says is that like, supposed to be the sun in the background?
Papertronics says Photoshop of wildlife in Zimbabwe. Ernst says I'd like it more with a lot more of the blue sky cropped out. Merd2K says oh here we go again with these misleading composites.
Now let's go to today's post in Black People Twitter. Something I never expected to see on my timeline lol.
L Big Nasty says took me a moment to realize what was going on.
XalhuRDT says okay that is fucking brilliant. First TikTok I actually enjoyed. Alpha Pretibani says she's the cutest pregnant lady I've ever seen.
Hurricane Evo says I love how she taps her stomach real quick before she starts LOL.
Shoot Whip Dad says she's 17 and pregnant. Sad pensive face. Lick Disifakri of right time says bro somebody please come collect the whole internet lol.
Now let's go to today's post in sports. The most insane cornhole shot I've ever seen.
Sports Pie says welcome to Reddit Sports. Asterisk get your user flair here asterisk. We have flair from over 1900 teams from around the world and are adding more constantly. The new image flair is visible on both new old Reddit on desktop and the official Reddit apps. This message is to assist mobile users. Feel free to test Flair by responding to this comment. Samwise815 says shout out to the guy in the gray who goes for the fist bump then the high five.
Basilisks VIE says these dudes look exactly like what I would imagine someone who plays professional cornhole to look like.
RBOG says ESPN 8 the Ocho.
Ryder Dave says sponsors. This sport is big enough that these guys have sponsors.
Outlaw6 says guys, did you know that a 5-point deficit is easier to overcome than a 6-point deficit? Now let's go to today's post in politics. If everyone had voted, Hillary Clinton would probably be president. Republicans owe much of their electoral success to liberals who don't vote. Shut Up Denger says it's almost as if Republicans have a vested interest in voter suppression.
The Quick Trigger says I was technically homeless in 2016. So although I was registered for the town I was living in, they refused to let me vote. Even a provisional because I couldn't prove I lived there. Pretty sure my story is not unique.
It says I will vote every single fucking time a vote opportunity presents itself to me, and it will always and forever be for whoever is the best candidate. However, I have yet to find conservatives put up any sort of good candidate since Ike. So Dems get my votes now. HAMAKAZE99 says if everyone voted Republicans would never win.
Northern Opinion says 1. Electoral College needs to go.2. Make election day a paid holiday so people, especially younger voters and low income, can afford to get to the polls. 3. More polling locations. 4. Secure elections.
Resto Vivace says if everyone who showed up to vote had been permitted to vote, Clinton would have won the Great Lakes and the EC. Greg Palast has documented that thousands of African Americans were prevented from voting by insane racist voter ID requirements. Red Palast, not The Economist.
Now let's go to today's post in videos. Philip Brailsford, coward and murderer of family man Daniel Shaver, rehired by Mesa PD.
Episolov Dude says Brailsford isn't the only pass. Brailsford murdered an unarmed man who was in a submissive position and sobbing and pleading "Don't kill me." But Brailsford's Lieutenant Sergeant was the one shouting throughout the video, and he later and suddenly retired, then moved to the Philippines. And also the judge would not allow the video to be broadcast by news organizations admitted as evidence because it might bias the jury. And the police department rehired him for a day so he could get his pension for life. That was a decision that was also made in conjunction with the board, as the video shows. In short, corruption seems rampant throughout the city. The city is knee-deep in PO, says Edit. Not a lieutenant, but Sergeant Charles Langley. Thanks You'd Ben 89X, who also gave a link to the police report. Edit 2. Correction about the judge. Thanks to you Legitosaurus Rex. Judge George Foster bowed news organizations from broadcasting the shooting video, agreeing with Brailsford's argument that it could hurt his fair trial rights. The Associated Press and other news organizations objected to the request, arguing the public has a First Amendment right to see the video. Source. But previously, Judge Sam Myers, who was previously assigned to the case, issued an order in 2016 to release the footage only in part. Myers found that portions of the video should remain sealed until sentencing or acquittal, and also declined to turn it over to Shaver's widow. Source.
Ben89X replies it was Sergeant Langley. Here's the police report. http://archive.azcentral.com/persistent/images/supplemental_report.pdf.
Rudadog says I never see anyone mention it, but there's another incident with this guy. https:// www.youtube.com/watch?vecwills.tpdzfz4skig. Here a news report about it. https www.youtube.com/watchv=1hasm5m3 If the system worked correctly, he would have been fired for that incident, before he ever had the chance to gun that poor guy down. I appreciate the police and how hard their job is, but the department's Union City shouldn't be protecting shitty cops. John Sack says, I remember when this footage came out. I've never been more furious in my life watching this piece of scum murder that guy.
Yamagnotna says the decision was made by a board of which his father was a member.
Diplomatic Donut says, are the standards for police that low that they have to rehire fired cops? Wouldn't it be more economic and less damaging to the department to just hire someone new? Now let's go to today's post in Nottingham. They can stop all of us. More than 250k pledged to storm Area 51 to uncover alien secrets.
Fluff and Puff Rebeth says wait and see when 25 people actually show up.
Scrat and Sniffy says, so you claim they are hiding weapons of unimaginable power, and your plan is to run directly at them?
Oh my G, says lol, Area 51 is so remote. 250k people aren't willing to go that far, and they'd see them coming from an hour away.
Coffee and Bikes says narrator. They could. Valdi says 250k alien hunting boys versus a bunch of army boys. Who wins?
Pinite 1 says the internet. They can't stop all of us. The military laughs in Warthog.
Now let's go to today's post in Ask Reddit. If HBO's Chernobyl was a series with a new disaster every season, what event would you like to see covered?
Canada 432 says the Keistim disaster, only Chernobyl and Fukushima have ranked as worse incidents, but Keistim affected 4x as many people. Because of the secrecy surrounding the facility, nobody was told anything about it until a week later, when soldiers suddenly showed up and started slaughtering all the livestock and burning everything, not telling all the people why they were being rounded up and evacuated. They said it was a special disease. Some other people weren't evacuated for a year or more. Liz 325 says Triangle Shirtwaist Fire in 1911.
Kinney SL says, on that note, I recommend watching the ESPN 3430 documentary on the Hillsborough Stadium disaster.
Motorbiker 1985 says, I would like the 1917 Canadian blast. https://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Halifax_explosion, the largest man-made explosion until nuclear bombs in 1945. Not so much for the blast but for the rebuilding and dealing with it.
P0.0 Eater says the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in 1911. 150 died, most of them young women, because the doors were locked to prevent workers from taking breaks in inventory, and they couldn't leave the building. This sparked outrage and spurred the development of many work safety standards we have today. Would have been a tragic show, but interesting to see how it changed the safety of work in the West. The owners of the building escaped alive via the roof and were indicted for manslaughter, got off with paying a fine, and then were found to have locked the doors at their next factory as well. Wikipedia.
Kinney SL says Craig Mazin's Twitter was inundated for a while with Indians asking him to do a series on Bhopal.
Now let's go to today's post in World News. Endangered rhino numbers soar by 1000% in Tanzania after crackdown on poaching gangs, and elephant populations have risen by nearly half in 5 years, thanks to a blitz on illegal ivory hunters, the president's office said. Mayneafa Beatles says this is obviously a very good news, but it should be taken with a grain of salt. However, British wildlife experts were cautious, saying the rise in rhino numbers was likely to be down to imports, rather than breeding, but Mark Jones, head of policy at wildlife charity the Boring Free Foundation, said both rhinos and elephants breed slowly, so attributed the population increases to other factors. This sounds like very good news, but we should view these figures with caution until there's independent verification. There's no way that has occurred through breeding and protection alone. He said rhinos would have been imported. He believes they mature late, have long gestation periods and don't produce many young. Both species take a long time biologically to reproduce. Elephants are intelligent, they move across national borders to where they are safer, so if there's been a clampdown on poaching in Tanzania, it may be that some have moved in.
Magmafrost13 says considering elephant pregnancies last a year and a half, all those extra elephants probably aren't new calves added, my mistake, it's actually 2 years.
Sawney says this is great news. I'm gonna forget about the last article that said deforestation is up 88% than last year. This is so much fucking better. Made my day better. Edit, the 88% is in Brazil. And I know ignoring bad news won't make it any less true. But it's just nice to see light at the end of the dark tunnel. Scrolling through the news, Africa is doing a lot to help the environment. So it's just nice to see some reassurance.
Blue Astrid says easy way to get massive political leverage. Kidnap a shit ton of rhinos and hide them in your shed. Get elected and promise to save rhinos. Release said rhinos back in the wild. Win.
Mr. Dragon says Tanzanian here living and working in Tanzania take everything you hear about the government with a massive grain of salt. This president is known to push stories to favor himself in order to obtain followers. The elections are just around the corner and this fits perfectly with his narrative of being a great president. It's most portably imported livestock mixed with the locals to achieve this high of a number. This same president has also increased the GDP by means of aggressively finding local businesses and forcing them to pay more than their dues to the tax authorities. All of this was done to achieve an image that the country is improving under his running, when in reality it's far from improving. Instead it's getting worse.
Gitsabomba says to all the good people risking their lives to protect animals in Africa from poachers, you are the real MVPs.
Now let's go to today's post and public freakout. Guy gets mad because of smirking.
PF Mirrorbot says Mirror I am a bot feedback Jithib.
Captain Mo017 says walks away you know what, walks back.
Skyrim Special Edition says INTERESTING.
Parapsych says you always flashing that smirk and making me feel all fuzzy in my stomach and no zone, brah. That ain't cool. Come address me like a man, ask me on a date, buy me dinner and stop fucking around all the time.
Sancho203 says shit it ain't gay to tuck your homies in at night, nor is it gay to kiss them on the forehead.
Inked B says this man is unhappy with his life. Why else would he feel the need to act out like this?
Now let's go to today's post in political humor. Your president, Walter 1950 says how the fuck do you bankrupt a casino? Genius.
Neutralock says okay we get it, you Americans elected a garbage human being and he turned out to be a garbage president. Gotta be honest, there were some warning signs.
I appreciate reality says call me too serious or whatever, but this stopped being funny to me about 2 years ago. Now it's sad and pathetic and most of all an incessant reminder of what our society, nation, country, culture, fucking whatever has become. I try to look at it as a necessary evil and believe that good things will come from it in the long run, but fuck, it's a shitload of work. Plus I kinda know I'm just being optimistic and we're all fucked.
RN Rain Voice of Pollution says the patriot who dodged the draft, and then bragged how great he would have been in the war if he had wanted to. I can respect someone who dodged the draft because they didn't believe in the war and then stuck by those convictions afterwards. If you dodged and then go about how great you would have been or a warmonger, you're a coward.
Jitpat Punkoff Milon says why you don't think he has something to hide, do you?
The Fish Seattle says why did you forget the most important thing? Trump is a rapist. A rapist.
Now let's go to today's post in Murder Redbeards. Thou shalt not murder. Beerbalibagone says given the popularity of this post, I'd like to remind everyone of Bill and Ted's law, be excellent to each other.
Ilotha Beer says bingo. Dad used to tell me a joke. How do you keep a Baptist from drinking your beer on a fishing trip? Bring another Baptist.
Humanitor says perfect title for this post 10/10.
Blousy Chrism says Jesus wasn't white and was a Jew.
Chin84 says seriously though, when it comes to giving to the poor, something Jesus constantly talks about, there are just no takers. Welfare? Universal health care? Living wage? If Jesus were here, conservatives would be laughing at him because he didn't charge for his miracle.
Southern Bell 1980 says I had an argument with my mother about this. She called today on a rant about someone named Castro running for president and the country being ruined and they are taking over. We are both Christians and I reminded her Jesus said to love. Jesus said to welcome strangers. Well, you'd think I told her to flush her head down a toilet or something. It's really simple, and she reads her Bible every day, but I think she must be skimming the Jesus parts.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.